Hi.
Zdravo.
It's kind of fun. It's like a translation.
O čemu ćemo pričamo? Da vidiš šta sam ti poslao.
Let's see.
Da vidim šta sam ti poslao, da vidimo o čemu ćemo pričamo. Moji vi?
Yeah.
Ok.
Which one are you feeling?
Ček. Ajmo ovo je zanimljivo.
Which one?
Kako se ne izgubiti u vezi i ostati u kontaktu sa sobom. You understand?
Yep.
Ajde, it's your turn. Kreni.
Me first.
Kako se ne izgubiti u vezi i ostati u kontaktu sa sobom.
This is a really interesting one for me. Because probably at the very beginning of our relationship, in the very beginning of, like, let's say the deep work of my own transformation and development, I was a deep people pleaser. And what else? How would I say it? People pleaser. And like, I'm a very like go with the flow. I'm chill. I kind of can be, you can get along with anybody. I can be down for any situation. Like, I'm really good. But that can be really tricky because it can have you miss those subtle places where you're like, no, I actually don't want that. I want this. Or no, actually, I need this, not that, and things like that. So I feel like in the very beginning, this was actually something that I struggled with a little bit. And figuring out, you were the first person I really dated in this way where you really fit into my whole life. And in the beginning, I was kind of like, fuck, how do I do this? How do I work full time? And then I have a partner, and then I have friends, and then I have family and all this stuff. So I feel like I struggled with this in the beginning. And through the last, so now we're about to be at 5 years married next week and 7 years together in September. What I have learned that it's about is such deep, deep understanding of yourself. And building, for me, it was building the capacity to even sometimes hold the disappointment of other people. I would say for me, that was the hardest thing. And like, even sometimes now I still struggle if you're like, oh, but I wanted this or I wanted that. For me to hold to like what's true for me or what's right for me or what's true about my expression and all of these things like that. So it's been an unraveling of the people pleasing, the like down for whatever girl, plus building that capacity to know yourself so deeply and to hold true to that no matter what the projection from the other is, which for me I think was hard. It's hard in general, but I think in relationship it was even harder for me. Yeah, that's kind of where I would start, like what came to me immediately in thinking back to like 7 years ago me and now me. It's deep self-knowing and deep self-respect to just continue to be you. And vulnerability, I would say, was another big one. I remember you always used to say to me, one thing that I love about you is that I can be my whole self. Like, I can sing really badly in the car when we go on road trips. I can do like whatever, and I feel so like accepted by you and all that. And I thought that was really beautiful. And I truly did feel that. And this had nothing to do with, that probably had not as much to do with me as it did with you allowing me to see those parts. And I think I struggled, like I would be shy, for example, to just like let myself, like now it's different, but like sing in the car. And like I actually have reflected on this before, and it's a willingness to be vulnerable, to be seen as exactly who you are, which is a piece of not losing yourself. It's even you yourself knowing yourself first, and then that vulnerability of being seen, and really not just the places that feel really good to be seen. The places where you get applause and your partner goes, oh, that's so awesome about you. But even the parts where your partner's like, that's lame, or that's whatever, or I wouldn't do that, or blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's maybe a quick personal journey, because I did journey with that and really learning how not to get lost. And by the way, then becoming a mother for a woman is a whole other layer and journey with figuring out how not to lose yourself, because you're not then prioritizing just your husband, which you do and you should, and that's necessary, but then your child. And there's all these needs And, you know, you need to place yourself somewhere too. So that has really deepened my exploration of this, of like, okay, how can I really honor my needs and my expression and my everything as well in this particular season too. So yeah, hopefully that answers a little bit, but that's my experience.
So how can you not lose yourself in a relationship? Give me quick steps to people who listen.
Oh my gosh, steps. My husband's a step person and I'm like, take your transition.
Ne, nisam step person, nego jednostavno šta ljudi mogu da urade da se ne izgube bazirano na tvom experience.
Commit yourself to knowing yourself. Commit yourself to knowing yourself and you loving and honoring. And at very least, there's some parts we won't love, but we have to accept. That's the zadatak. That's the whole point. So commit to every single day approaching this is my like very in real life practice. Like I am in constant just observation. It's second nature to me now. I like don't effort. I'm just like, it's curiosity. When I approach it with curiosity, it's hard to judge. I even can catch like for example, throughout the years, I have caught myself, you know, where do I not like to be expressed or not to be myself, or I kind of want to be somebody else because maybe that's cooler or whatever it is. Or in relationship, or like my partner wants or prefers this, but I'm not really that, but maybe I could make myself be that, or blah, 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 whatever it is. And it's just, that's what I think it is. Like, you know yourself so deeply, you know the places also where it's really easy to stand up for yourself and to continue to, you know, choose yourself and express yourself and, maintain your hobbies and your blah, 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 whatever. And where do you find it hard? Like, where are the areas where like, oh, that's really hard for me. When my partner tells me he really, really needs me, but I know I actually want to do something different or I need something different, you know, who do I prioritize or what do I prioritize type of thing. So that's what I think it comes down to, like being committed to knowing yourself really well and practicing your capacity to really hold your own expression and your own beingness that like you can really accept even in the face of someone laughing at you.
I'm laughing zato što ja sam ušao potpuno myself in the relationship.
Yes, yeah. I mean, our transformations were something different that we needed to work on.
U to vreme ja sam ušao baš onako kakav jesam. Jes mi malo bila frka zbog zuba četvorke. I zbog mojih papira, ali osim toga, zapravo jedina laž, da kažem da je bila laž koju sam ja tebe slagao, je bilo sam je slagao da imam vozačku dozvolu u Kanadi. Imao sam G1, ovdje malo drugačije su ovdje pravila, a nema veze, ali to je jedina laž, ali ostalo ja sam ušao potpuno whoever I am u tom trenutku.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I take it so much this question of like, it's not that like you aren't who you are, but it's about, I feel like women will relate to it a lot more because I think this tends to be something that we fall into a lot. Men probably like just have something different. It's just kind of like our natures where you will be perhaps a little bit more malleable or wherever we try to be a bit more palatable or whatever it is. And to be honest, like this could be a question of how do you not lose yourself, period. Like in relationship is one thing, but how do you not lose yourself in life?
I mean, ima odgovor za to. Odgovor je jednostavan. Actually, ovo je jedno od pitanja da je odgovor jako jednostavan. Nećeš izgubiti sebe ako uđeš u odnos sa namjerom da nešto daš, a ne samo da izvučeš. If you give and not just take.
Okay.
So my point is that like da, na primjer, vrlo često ljudi uđu u odnos i gledaju šta mogu od njega da dobiju. Zato što se ne osjećaju kao da su whole person. I onda bukvalno imaš osoba koja misli da je pola osobe, koja vrlo vjerojatno privuče drugu polovinu osobe i oni tako misle će budu cijela osoba, a u realnosti to nije tako. Već samo daj ti, you make me happy.
Okay.
You make me happy.
Yeah.
And I need you to do all of these things and become sve ovo što ja nisam, budi moja mama, budi moja tata, zadovolji moje potrebe, fulfill my needs. I onda u tom procesu ne samo da ja izgubim sebe, već i ti izgubiš sebe jer sam ja ušao, to jest ti izgubiš sebe i ja izgubim sebe jer sam ja ušao sa nadom da ću da budem neko koji jesam, samo da sam sebe izgubio u tome jer sam pokušao sada da opravdam tvoja očekivanja ili ti moja. Ali, kada smo mi ušli u odnos, barem ja sam tada gledao na sebe kao na cijelu osobu, like a whole person, ti si another whole person i mi smo došli zajedno da delimo tu sreću. A ne da ti mene učiniš srećom. Naravno, you remember, da sam ti govorio, nije tvoj zadatak da ti mene činiš srećnim.
Of course not, yeah.
Ja sam tebi govorio, jače nije ni moj zadatak, to je tvoj zadatak. Mi možemo delimo sreću, ali to nije zadatak. I problem je što velika većina ljudi uđe tako što gleda šta može da izvuče. Ali problem je što gleda šta može da izvuče jeste što je upravo to što si ti rekla, ja se slažem, know thyself. Či znaj ko si, šta si. Ako ulaziš kao pola osobe, ne razumeći si ti cijela osoba, ti ćeš tražiti i sada, na primjer, ako uđemo i ti kao pola, znači ne smatramo sebe da smo cijela osoba, ti si pola, ja sam pola, ti imaš expectations, ja imam expectations, ti imaš svoje needs, ja imam svoje potrebe koje treba se zadovolje. Šta se sada dešava? Ja, pošto imam taj dopamin, te butterflies u mom stomaku, ja sam zaljubljen salome do tebe, ja sada ću da se adaptiram, da probam, da uradim sve ono što je potrebno da tebi zadovoljim tvoje potrebe, se plašim da ću biti odbačen. Obično dolazi do toga da mi tražimo osobu na osnovu naših trauma ili potreba koje nisu zadovoljene. I samim time, ako ti ne zadovoljiš moje potrebe, ja ću se osjećam odbačen, se osjećam kako god i možda izdano. I sada ti da bi zadovoljila te potrebe, ti sada promijenjaš svoje ponašanje da bi usrećila drugu osobu, a u promjeni tog ponašanja ti sebe izgubiš. I sad više ne znaš ni ko si ti.
Yeah. I mean, that's then a root issue because it's like, did you choose your partner from the right space? If you choose your partner from that space, now you're at the roots we have potentially incompatibility because your wounds chose and not your kind of...
To možemo ako su partneri mature enough. Da mogu da vidite stvari.
Okay,
da ti izabereš nekoga, tako gledaš što retko ko ima.
Yeah, and like that's fine. We all have our path. Would you like, that wasn't our experience. Actually, what I would say is what I really struggled is the fact of how much I had a whole full life. It was a whole full self, kind of like my routines and my habits and my job and my the things I liked to do and planned and the travels and the friends and my family has always been like a core component of where I would prioritize my time. My mom, my sister, my best friends. That was really hard because now it is a whole life rearrangement. I think that if I were to describe it like where I struggled in the beginning, it's figuring out, it's a totally new configuration, which is really interesting. When I was at my friend's house the other day, we were talking about a friend of hers who's our age, okay, so 33, 34 maybe, starting to date now. And dating, she was like, so my friend is telling me about how she's really picky and somehow everybody even, no one's perfect, but they're fine and stuff, but it's like constantly something is wrong. And this is the exact point that we were talking about from like our experience and what we see sometimes in friends who are trying to date older. Like the older you get, the more your whole life configures really like deeply. And changing that becomes really hard. However, one aspect is not losing yourself in relationship, which is absolutely what needs to happen. But the other part is you cannot have an expectation that you're going to do everything the same, you're going to act the same way, that nothing is going to change and they just have to be like kind of they attach to your life, but you're not going to change anything. That's not how it works. There is
Bilo je malo kod nas u početku, jer ja sam rekao, ali nije bilo, samo da dam kontekst. Ja sam znao da je to moja posljednja godina u rukometu, u folkloru i nekim stvarima. Ja sam tebi rekao, ne zanima me, sreda, nedelja i subota prepodne, ja sam zauzet. Sreda i nedelja uveče su folklor, subota prepodne rukomet. Ali ja sam znao da je to moja posljednja sezona, znači da mi idemo, pogotovo to sam ti rekao tek tamo posle nove godine kada smo mi već odlučili da ćemo putujemo svijetu, napustimo poslove. Ja sam rekao, znači ovo je zadnjih 6 mjeseci, šta?
No, go on. I think that's a really good point you're bringing up.
Ne, ja sam rekao tebi, znači ovo je ono i to je bilo malo onako sebično u tom nekom kontekstu, ali ja ti dajem kredit jer si ti razumjela koliko je to meni znači. Ja sam tebi lepo rekao, folklor mi znači više nego išta. Rukomet manje više tu i tam, Maleka je već zadnja sezona da odigram i nju. Ali sam bio rekao, znači ne, moje vreme sreda i nedelja uveče i subota ujutro ja moram da imam. I ono bilo je amen. Ja svakako kažem, ti si baš bila daleko tolerantnija od mene u tome, ali u tom nekom periodu mi smo tako isto ušli, ali opet to je bio deo mene koji je u fazonu, hej, ja neću izgubim sebe u ovome. Ti si vjerojatno izgubila sebe malo u tom nekom procesu, gdje neke stvari, ali te opet izgubila si sebe jer možda nisi sebi dozvolila da pričaš na način koji sam ja pričao.
Well, let me give you because this is a fantastic example. Because I would say threads of this so this is a very in real life, in the relationship thing right now. This is so good for you guys. For example, if someone says these 3 days, absolutely, I have all of these things going.
Ali to nije all day.
Okay, these afternoons, whatever. Also, though I worked full time, right?
Recimo, sreda nedelja je bilo uveče od 7 do 9, znači nije to ceo dan, subota je bila ujutro. Čisto da napomenem, da se ne uzmu ceo dan.
Like, imagine though you had said, these 3 days on the evenings, I absolutely can't. And I said, great, these other 3 days, I absolutely cannot either. So I'll see you once a week. Bye.
Ja sam to imao već ranije. Odnos takav gdje mi se dešavalo da mi osoba kaže koja žive tamo.
We were constantly saying
Ne, ali kažem, pre toga sam imao odnos gdje mi je osoba bila iz, North Yorka i vidi se jednom sedmično. I ja sam shvatio da to ne pije vodu. Mada ja sam pokušavao, ja sam u tom trenutku teo da napravim kompromis.
I also had
ali ona nije htjela. Ali sada sa tobom, kad smo krenuli, ja sam tebi lepo rekao. Nisam ja bio, znaš što uradio, ja sam im rekao, to je zadnja sezona. Ja sam tebi siguran, znam.
Do you remember actually what you really said? We literally, September 15th, when we went, you told the story last time, whatever, when we kissed and you were like, we started dating. We're literally walking back to the car and you were like, I just have to think about where I'm going to fit you in because I have this and I have this and I have this.
Ja se ne sjećam to, ali super.
You did, right away. I could tell you were probably like, oh my God, now, like a girlfriend on top of everything. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't say that in a bad... Yeah, you did. You were like, I just have to, I have all of these things. Obviously, there are commitments and stuff like that too. And you're absolutely right. Like, this is where, like, relationships really are, like, mirrors and, like, that's my invitation, right? It's nobody's fault. I can't be like, well, because of Srki now, I didn't go do I don't have hobbies, by the way. I don't like scheduled hobbies. You do, for example. I could do my things, move them around, right?
Dobro, moji hobi su related za moj mental health najviše.
Which continues to be the case.
Jesi, i dalje je to slučaj. Zapravo, meni je i folklor rukomet su bili super za moje mentalno zdravlje. Iz prostog razloga što ne znam koliko sada sam ja ovo, ne znam da li sam ikada pričao. Ja sam nekoliko puta spomenuo, ali ja sam imao velikih izazova sa sezonskom depresijom. I još uvek imam izazova.
Znači, in Pula. In Pula, this guy, it's not warm enough.
Da, ali to je očigledno neki deo moje biologije koje zahteva više sunca, više vitamina D. Generalno, moja biologija je tako, smo mi bukvalno testirali mene. Znači, ja sam uspeo u Puli na plus 5-10 stepeni, kad je najgore da kažeš, upadnem u sezonsku depresiju. I onda da bih ja održao sebe, ja moram da radim aktivnosti koje su stimulišuće, koje oslobađaju dopamin, testosteron. U tom periodu za mene je to bio zaista folklor i rukomet i naravno teretana. Raditi teretanu smo išli zajedno, pa je to bila malo drugačija stvar u tom nekom periodu, ali to je meni bitno za stvarno moje mentalno zdravlje. Ja čak i sada, ja volim loptu, ja volim folklor i ponekad ga dobro nisam igrao godinu dana, znam sam kad zadnji put igrao. Planirao sam već mjesec dana da igram ovdje u dvorištu nikako da igram, ali basket sam igrao 2 puta nedeljno u zadnjih 7-8-6 mjeseci. Zašto im je bitno za moje zdravlje? A ti znaš i sama, Srđan, periodu bez basketa i Srđan kad ima basket. Mislim, to je jednostavno zbog toga, manje više. Nije da meni sad ne znam to, ja volim, imam strast.
Otherwise I have to be a bro and we have to fight during cards because you want to shit talk me.
Kako da ne izgubiš sebe? Tako što igraš karte i imaš trash talk za tvoju žena.
We had to stop playing cards for the sake of our parents.
Mi igramo čoveče, ne ljuti se. Ja kako onako bacam i treba da je pojedem, ovako, pop, gleda pa karek je, ovako je zveknem. A ona se iznemira i zvakci, ovo je naljuti se. Čoveče, Aleksandra se naljutila. Sorry, baby. Ma res okay. Ne, ali kaži za ovo što si rekla, za što si počela bila. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Let me catch my thought again. Yeah, I mean, the whole point is, for example, even now I have to catch myself sometimes, like, especially since becoming parents, like, our time is really limited.
Sad je drugačija priča.
You always have, like, more a scheduled thing, whereas I don't have scheduled things.
Da.
But I could also really easily, it's also just, like, I don't know, like, you just do what you got to do type of thing. I don't know if it's a woman thing or a me thing or whatever, and time could pass where you're like, shit, I haven't actually, like, I'm not filled back up. But what saves you in this moment, like, for example, is that your fault? No. Like, if I'm not saying, it's not even your fault if you're like, babe, do you have to, like, you know, we haven't had intimate time in a while, or can we this? And I'm like, come on, I was a blah, 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 blah. That's not even your fault. I have to hold to it if I know something that I have to do or whatever, right? So it's actually really such a gift to be able to see that pattern. And this is, I think, actually what like can save relationships, like obviously if they're worth continuing and stuff like that, that you have that orientation that you know, okay, like if it's you, then it's really you, and that can be a discussion of something like, but it's like, well, if I'm being honest, like, is that really me, a me thing? And you know, you let yourself kind of like sometimes bitch if you need to bitch, but then you always turn it back and go, okay, where do I need to be better? Where do I need to communicate better? Where am I just like not?
I mean,
and that's definitely been something that it's just not something I was always great at, and I've had to really hold myself.
I mean, evo primjer gdje si ti izgubila. Ti si se izgubila u tome što si počela pratiš moj schedule, ustajanje ujutro rano. Ajmo u teretanu u 5 ili u 6. Ti nisi morning type. Ti znači nisi morning type. 2 puta dnevno da jedeš. Jer sam ja radio fasting, intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Znači to su neke stvari da ti možda nisi iskomunicirala svoje potrebe.
I mean, it's not like I was not eating.
You
It's
weren't
like
bitching or anything.
No.
Just like, to nije baš, ali činjenica ti nisi morning tip. Ti ćeš ići u teretanu u 9, 8, 9, ali ne u 5 kao ja, na primjer.
7, like normal people. When you say morning person, 5 is not even morning people things, okay? 7 is morning people things. Chill.
Samo sekundu. Znate vi kako sam se ja budio pored moje žene u prvih par mjeseci od zabavljanja?
Like military style, jumping out of bed like there's a fire somewhere. Not even first few months. It was very short until you realized, oh, I have a woman in my bed. I have to maybe stay.
Kako je bilo prvi put kad sam se probudio u 4:15 fazon?
Like my soul jumped out of my body. Like, I don't know what you want from me. I'm also like, I like to slowly get up in the morning. Like, I don't want to rush. But I do want to, it's not like I completely like accommodated something. It's just like our routine took on, by the way, I was intermittent fasting like before you and stuff like that. It wasn't like all you. Like, I don't want it to seem like, oh my God, now I completely, like I was starving myself for you.
No, nisi, ali
it
samo
wasn't
kažem,
that.
nije nešto što je možda tebi baš bilo prirodno, ti je prijelo najviše toliko.
Yeah, I mean.
Barem ne trening ujutro. Možda fasting je bilo da smo imali
no.
2 obroka pa smo zajedno pravili, pa nije to uvijek bilo samo 2 obroka.
This is the thing, it's like we make food together, we eat together, and like all of this stuff.
No.
But that part about like, you were very rigid when you're not even like that anymore. We've both met in the middle with that. And you definitely had this mentality of like, if you want something bad enough, like, you don't sleep, you don't eat, you work harder. If you didn't make it, you work harder. And when I wasn't very trusting and faithful of actually my own rhythms and my own guidance, I actually started to believe, oh shit, we actually all have to be just like that in order to succeed, or we don't succeed. For there was a few years there where I was like, oh my God, it's just me. I'm just like...
Ali to je zato što sam ja tako uvijek bio. Znači, ja ovako kada pričam, ponekad ispadnem autoritativan, ispadnem
You have a strong energy.
Overly samopouzdan, kaki, znači ono kurčevit.
Yes.
I ja sam takav uvijek, ja sam stvari od uvijek bio takav. Znači, zaista jesam. I ono, bukvalno kada recimo nešto ne znam, lupić, ali glup primjer, šetamo šumom, levo ili desno, ja autoritativno kažem, desno. Tu idemo. Nema tu više priče. To je to.
10 minutes.
Da, manje više, da. Ali ne, zato što je to tako ispadalo i izgledalo je bukvalno s neke strane, ti si vjerojatno bila posumnjala i rekla si, aha, možda on zna bolje, onda ja ne vjerujem sobom, viš kako on priča samo pouzdano. Or like,
no, more
the
so,
energy was also strong. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you have a very like
strong.
You have a very strong like energetic system, which like I have a very strong energetic system, but I wasn't fully at the point where I could trust what I would say. This is the language I would use. Those more like feminine power structures and feminine like guidance systems. And to trust that like if I'm guided this way, whichever way that is, it doesn't have to be about like waking up or whatever, but like following your system. You know, that's not guiding you incorrectly. that has taken me time. And by the way, not just to fall into that faith and trust for myself, but I have had to catch myself where I needed to step up to the faith and to the trust of that and trust of our guidance from God for our family. And for you as my husband. Because I have seen in places, listen, our men really reflect back a lot to us, like, about what's inside of us. I mean, it's the same, the opposite way as well, but I can speak from our perspective. It's like, you think like he's not like faithful, or he does faithful. By faithful, I mean like of God and of like how we're being guided or whatever, trust that we're taking, whatever it is. And it's like, always look at yourself where it's like, well, how am I holding the feminine principle? Because he will only reflect that to me. I don't know if I've ever spoken to you about this, but I practice with myself like that. And I have watched like our whole family shift. By our whole family, obviously, like the three of us, like our family unit. So it wasn't just about me. I saw where I was like, oh, you're not just stepping up for yourself. Like, you lead your family in this way as well. So to really starting to trust and not be overpowered by this sometimes, like, you can have, I'm sure anybody who's been in your presence knows that it can kind of take over, and you do sometimes need to be like, not in a negative way, but like balanced out, or like, no, or like, no, you're wrong, or we're not doing, or whatever it is, you know, which obviously we always had that. I'm not like, I wanted to come off like I'm some pushover or something. It was never that, but certainly there was these dynamics. And about the schedule thing we're talking about, or about, you know, work harder, sleep less, blah, 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 whatever it was mainly, I would say, in our work, in our careers. And part of the reason also what caused me to perhaps doubt myself was you started getting results and I didn't. And that even though now I know how we were in totally different spaces and totally different, lots of stuff. Also, you were much more prepared for entrepreneurship than I was. You have very natural skill sets and skill sets that developed that I have really needed to step into. But I was like, well, okay, then if, you know, he has results and I don't, then that must be the reason, and not maybe other things. So that was also part of the reason that made me like, oh, maybe I do need to do this, you know, hustle culture thing, even though you're not that at all anymore. You've really, actually, I would say now you're a deeply like faithful, guided by intuition and God type of person now. But this was maybe the progression, our journey.
Ajde se vratimo like step back for the moment. Recimo, ti si rekla jednu stvar i to je 100% istina. Kako da znaš da se nisi izgubio u vezi, jeste, po meni, kada možeš pred osobom da budeš ono ko ti zaista jesi. I da, ja sam pevao pred tobom, plakao pred tobom, otvarao se, svašta nešto, bio ranjiv, i to je najveći kompliment koji možda daš svom partneru, da mu se potpuno ogoliš. However, sa druge strane, nije baš bilo recipročno kod tebe, nije to tako odmah bilo i mene je to baš nakon jedno vreme bilo tištilo. Zašto ti nisi ko ti jesi? I onda nekako uvek si ti vraćala nazad na ti prvih početnih par mjeseci, godinu dana, da sam ja bio neka druga osoba. Moja žena dalje se sjeća šta se desilo 13. novembra 2019. godine. Verovatno u 17 časova 23 minuta i 45 sekunde.
Okay.
Da.
Cute.
Ali ne, the truth is, tebe je ta prva godinu dana naše veze proganjala do skoro relativno skora, u smislu da si mnoge stvari tada zapamtila, iako ja nisam više ta osoba, i dalje si prebacivala na mene, iako to nije zapravo istina, ni blizu. Mada ima tu pozitivnih argumenta zašto to tako, jer zaista
But you also know how the brain works.
I know how the brain works. Ali moja poenta je da recimo, na primjer, ja sam stvarno od početka ušao kao ono ko ja jesam. Nijednog trenutka nisam se silio da budem nešto što nisam. Naravno, kasnije ti i prilagodiš svoje neke postupke. Znači, drugačiji način. Znači, ti to nisi, nego samo gledaš. Na primjer, ja sam na početku naše veze bio radikalno iskren. Što ti nimalo nisi volila oko mnogi nekih stvari. Prvo, zato što je bila velika cultural difference. Mm-hmm. I recimo, moja supruga nije mogla da razume mnoge neke stvari koje dolaze iz naše kulture sa Balkana. Moje šale, moja neka ponašanja, neke druge stvari. Neke su bila ok, neka nisu, whatever. Ali bila, recimo, kulturna razlika. I ja sam bio radikalno iskren. U nekom trenutku ja sam to bukvalno morao da potisnem sa neke strane, ali to nije bilo samo s tobom, to je bilo i više sa ljudima, sam ti rekao, sjećam sam rekao da li prošle godine kad već, jer ne znam što sam ja prestao da budem radikalno iskren sa ljudima. Ne znam kada sam ja prestao da ljudima ne govorim, mislim ja sam ljudima uvijek bio iskren, ali radikalno iskren, to je totalno neki novi nivo. Ja sam to ponovo vratio, rekao sam, nema više tu što radim kompromis. Radikalna iskrenost je najbolja stvar koja postoji za mene, jer ne odmah znaš o čemu si. I to je recimo bila jedina od stvari koje ja znam da sam ja možda morao da prilagodim, nešto pretjerano, ali evo 7 godina, uskoro Bože zdravlja 7 godina, mogu da kažem, sada sam uvereno, prvo uđi kao cijela osoba, znači znaj ko si, znaj ko je Bog, ili šta god da veruješ, znaj što želiš od života. Kada znaš ko si, ili barem si na putu razotkrivanja ko si, neš uvijek znati ko si.
Yeah.
Češće će se izgubiti u životu, to je proces koji se konstantno dešava.
I think that's a long whole life process, yeah.
Ali makar možda znaš nešto ko si, znači znaš ko si, znaš ko je Bog i znaš što želiš od života. Tad ulaziš kao cijela osoba, gdje su tvoje potrebe zadovoljene, gdje ti ne tražiš od druge osobe da bude nešto što nije. I ako ja mogu tebi da dozvolim da budeš nešto što nisi i da te prihvatim tako i volim te i kad je svetlo i kad je tama, znaš, lako je kad je lako. Znaš, ali ja uvijek kažem, znači ti mora se vratiš kući kad si u ljubavi i kada nisi u ljubavi i vrati se kada nisi u ljubavi i sačekaj se ljubav vrati. Kada to kažeš, nije ti bukvalno prestaneš da voliš, nego počneš sumnjaš, pa se nerviraš, pa ovo, pa ono i tako neke gluposti. Ne, ostani dok se to ne vrati. To je po meni ključ da se ne izgubiš u sebe. Sada neko ko je već uveliko u vezi, ko je već uveliko u braku, brak je posebno priča, djeca su posebno priča. Tu mislim sam se malo ja izgubio definitivno, ali ne bih sad ulazimo u tu temu, to je možda posebna tema za sebe. Da, totalno drugačiji život. Zato ja kažem teme partnerskih odnosa. Meni ovdje nije tema da nije cilj da mi nešto vama pametujemo, ne pa da mi napamet da mi dajemo neke savjete, mi samo pričamo svoje iskustva, neke stvari koje su nama pomogle, šta je nama moglo, možda omogućiti neki naš realan pogled, a ne šta bi vi želi da čujete, već ono što zaista se dešava. Zato ja volim kažem često, čekaj, kada pričam o partnerskim odnosima, o kojim fazama pričamo. Šta, prva faza naše veze je prvi godinu dana, šta kad smo počeli putamo svijetom, COVID udario, sve se izdešavalo, svašta nešto, razumiješ? Ali tako da kažem, ovo su neke početne stvari, na ovaj način ti se nećeš izgubiti, ali ako si se već izgubio ili izgubila, otvorena komunikacija sa partnerom. Ajde da sjednemo da vidimo ko smo, gdje smo, šta smo u ovom trenutku. Evo šta je meni potrebno, evo šta je tebi potrebno. Tako možemo sada da dopustimo jedno drugom da budemo ono ko jesmo, kako možemo dopustimo jedno drugom da radi svoje stvari, bez da se osjećamo napadnuto ili kontrolisano ili kako god i da vidimo onda odatle šta je moguće dalje. Ako to ne možete, to je već neka druga priča.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah.
Something to add?
What I would only add to that too is I think you have to be willing to do the thing to find out some things. Mm-hmm. So you have to actually let yourself sometimes perhaps play out some patterns, date the wrong people, figure out that, oh shit, I actually lose myself in relationship. Maybe that's an ongoing pattern for you. Maybe it's just whatever, right? Like we also can't be like, oh, I'm going to be all the perfect things. I'm going to know myself. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And then I'll get in a relationship. Like life is a trial by fire. Oh. Transformation is a trial by fire.
Možda mislim da smo perfect, ali dok ne uđeš u vezu pa izazovi naiđu.
Like it's such, it actually, like that's the benefit. That's the design. I always say, for example, in my teachings in, like your pregnancy, your birthing, your postpartum mothering, the design is for the evolution. Your shit will come up because why? Because it's in the best interest of humanity for you to pick that shit up and alchemize, heal, integrate, whatever, right? Same with relationships. If that relationship is going to create children and mother and father children, then it's in the best interest of everybody that you figure. So it all makes sense as to why there's such mirrors and like any demons you had are going to come out. But it's like, go make a mistake and lose yourself. Don't spend 5 years in a relationship, lose yourself, right? But like, allow yourself to kind of get in there and see and learn yourself and not kind of try to figure everything out while on the sidelines. And I'm saying this only because of just conversations I've had either with people or that I know for people that like you know, when we started again, we were younger. If we're like a lot older, it's like, well, let's just date. I mean, that's what I would tell my kid in their 20s, 30s, whatever now too. I would be like, go date and you'll find out. You'll find out if you lose yourself, and then you get to correct it and
Nemam
stuff.
pojma što ću reći svojoj deci sutra, ali vidjet ćemo.
Yeah, oh my
Možda
God,
budu
when they
detovali
start-
robote ili AI, ili
No,
tako nešto.
we're gonna be
Ili
like,
vanzemaljce.
honey, please go date a real woman.
Odakle ti je mala? No, odakle je mala? Sa Marsa?
ChatGPT
Vidi,
made her.
Da, vidjet ćemo.
No, but because I mean, it's not like we've perfected or cleared all of these things. We're always like catching ourselves in it. You just have to have a practice where you're not going to judge yourself, and when you notice something, like, you can communicate, you can come vulnerably, your partner can receive you in that, be like, okay, like, receive you in your changes if you start behaving differently, whatever, right? It's so dynamic. It's so, life is long. And relationships are hopefully going to be long in this one forever. So we'll learn lots in there. I mean, I think, like, okay, we're going on 7 years, and I do think we entered a new era after having a child, but it still feels like in the grand scheme, when we're going to talk about it after then 15 years, 20 years, whatever, I'll be like, this is, we're really at the beginning. So it's just exciting.
Više ovim stvarima imamo fenomenalnu emisiju, zapravo seriju emisija na Neon platformi. Jedna je Dublje razumijevanje odnosa i veza, brutalna emisija. Druga je Održavanje iskre u ljubavi. Tako imate link u opisu epizode, posjetite Neon platformu. Trenutno preko 130 edukacija od 85 edukatora sa Balkana. Imamo 300 plus sati video materijala, preko 100 procesa. Sve to za svega 19 eura mjesečno koje možete gledati. Možda budete samo mjesec dana. 6 mjeseci imate popust, na godinu dana imate 38 eura popust, za 6 mjeseci 19 eura popust. Tako da možete iskoristiti mnoge neke mogućnosti koje će vam omogućiti da stvarno pogledate jako dosta kvalitetnih predavanja na temu partnerskih odnosa, koja znam da je onako osjetljiva i najpopularnija tema, tako da obavezno pogledajte. Još uvijek imate mogućnost se prijaviti za moj program Neurokod novca koji kreće 3.8. Imate info također u opisu epizode na mom Instagram kanalu. Prijavite se, dobijete popust na prijavu. Ljubav, još da kažeš malo samo gdje se prijave za tvoj program, također bit će dole u opisu.
For more personal work with me, you can send me a message. You guys will probably, you have my Instagram, so on there is fine. I also have monthly kind of self-prompted transmission style topics that come out on like any kind of topic related to this entering motherhood, your birthing season type of topics, so that you can go on the Substack and see that. And those are the two offers that I have for now for you. So DM on Instagram or go straight to my Substack where you can see that. It's also a monthly, or you can sign up for a year kind of self-paced program.
Okay. To je to, drugari. Hvala što ste bili uz nas. Pišite svoje komentare, šaljite nam poruke, dajte svoje mišljenje. Sve je dobrodošlo, konstruktivna, pozitivna diskusija. Odgovaramo na svaku poruku. Hvala što ste bili uz nas. Idemo s naredne epizodi.
Ciao.